Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillahi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in wa ba'd. So this is, we're on page number 40, part 6 from the chapter on characteristics of a student of knowledge, part 6, finish what you start. Now I got water all over the place. Alright, so bismillah. The problem with most people today, myself included, is that we find great difficulty, this is a mistake in the print, so great difficulty finishing what we start. This stems from the fact that people love the process of getting to know something new. They love being introduced to a new science or a new knowledge. Once they feel that the newness starts to wear off, they start looking for the next thing to bring that feeling back again. You will never be successful if you are that person. And that's not always the case. Some people, they just, every time that they experience difficulties, they quit. They can't take it. And you know, because they love the beginning phase, the beginning of seeking knowledge, or the beginning of doing anything new, where it's just like you start to learn a lot really, really fast, and it's fun. But see, when you start to, and this is not really when you get deep into the science. Anything that you study in depth, that's not the part where you're really going to be doing a lot of the learning. That's just the part that you can, those beginnings, the introductory knowledge is what's going to basically just get you to understand the other stuff that's coming that's going to help you benefit. That's where all the benefit's going to be at. Those fine, intricate details of the science, that takes time. And that's the stuff that's like tedious. It takes a lot of hard work. It takes you going back and reading the page over and over and over. You got to memorize. You got to study. You got to take notes. You got to, it's hard work. And that's where the people, when they start experiencing that part of studying or that part of whatever it is that they're doing, that's when they generally tend to quit. Because now this is where now they have to put in the work. This is where it starts to get hard. This is where the fun wears off. The easiness, the honeymoon's over, and now you have to really, really, really get down to work. And this is where people, they don't like this part of anything. So they quit, and then they go off to the next thing so they can start that honeymoon phase again. So what they do is they just remain in the beginning of everything in their life, so they never get anything accomplished. So they live their lives year after year, and then when they look at their lives and say, okay, what have I gotten done this year? What have I finished? What have I studied? What have I read? What have I memorized? Nothing. They realize nothing because they never finished anything. So Allah musta'an. And sadly to say, this is the majority of the people. You have to be fully aware of what is going on to happen and what is going to happen in the different stages of mastering a science. In the beginning, you are going to see great jumps of progress because the science is new to you. Everything you read about the science is considered progress. Everything you read about the science is considered progress. Once you have become well versed in the fundamentals of that science, your progress starts to slow down a lot. You see a little progress, then a plateau. You might stay on that plateau for a while, then you will see a bit more progress, then another plateau. It will go on like that until you master the science. You have to realize that the time that you are in that plateau period, that is the time that you are benefiting the most because the information is beginning to get locked into your mind. And that's why you see the people that begin a science, they study a little bit, and then they quit it, and then they go on to the next thing. Then they study it a little bit, then they quit it, then they go on to the next thing. They forget everything. It's gone. But you see those people that really, really went into depth. They were patient, and they went through all those little progressions and plateaus until they mastered that science. That science is locked in their minds. They're not going to forget that. They might forget the metan, the book that they memorized. They might have to go back and revise that every once in a while. But the science itself and everything, that they could teach it whenever. But those people that just like dibble-dabble and just kind of like, take a little bit of this and take a little bit of that, they can't teach anything because they haven't gone into depth and they haven't gone through that pain and suffering in anything. So they're not well grounded in anything. So all they could teach is that they could just give you like a dab and a dab of everything, but they can't really go deep into any science. So Allah musta'an. Most people quit once they experience that first plateau. They think that specific science is not for them because they stopped learning, like they were learning in the beginning. So they're not seeing that progression like they saw in the beginning, because now they're like what? Now they're plateauing. Now they're doing this. They're not just shooting up. Because now they're starting, because each plateau That plateau is where you're fixing that information into your head. So you're taking that information that you've learned and you're just repeating it and repeating it and repeating it. And once it becomes fixed in your mind and you really understand it, then you start to get more information and you go up to that next level. And you just keep going up like this, but it's a steady progress. It's a steady plateau progress, and that's natural. That's a natural progression. And nobody should become distressed when they see this. In fact, you should be excited and happy because you know that you're following the natural progression of anything. Because everything, it takes takrar. The Arabs, they always say, الَّذِي تَكَرَّرَ تَقَرَّرَ. The things that are repeated a lot, they become fixated in the mind and they stick. Stop the sound. So, they start to fix in the mind, become fixated in the mind. So, you have to repeat things over and over and over and over and again. And most people, they're not ready to put in that type of work. By the time that you memorize the Quran, for example, you probably have read every single page of the Quran at least 1,000 times by the time that you memorize the entire Quran. If you really, really memorize it properly. You're looking at probably reading at least 1,000 times for every page of the Quran. So imagine that. That's the type of repetition that it's going to take. Same thing when you're memorizing books of hadith. You're looking at every single hadith, you're probably going to read it at least 1,000 times. So, that's the type of repetition that it takes to get that information stuck in the mind. So for that to happen, for that to take place, that's that time that you're on that plateau. That's that time that you flatline and you think, oh, I'm not progressing. But you're not progressing at this point. But you're also not falling back. You're getting that information stuck in your mind for the next stage that you can move up. Because you can't move up until that information is set in your mind. So, this is the time you just have to be patient. You have to be patient and you just have to, work past all this and you have to you have to mainly realize that this is the natural progression. This is nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with anything. This is natural. And as long as you're this is what's going on, alhamdulillah, you should be satisfied, because this is learning. This is how learning is. So most people quit once they experience the first plateau. They think that specific science is not for them because they stopped learning like they were learning in the beginning. Individuals that do not get over this character flaw never get anything significant done because they are always quitting at the first sign of difficulty. People seem to have this delusion that if something is not completely easy for you, it is not for you. That is foolish. If you want knowledge, you have to work for it. You have to lose sleep over it. You have to go hungry because of it. If you're not willing to sacrifice your comfort for this great thing, you will never achieve it. And this is something that the ulama constantly repeat. Where they say the knowledge, if you gave your entire self, if you gave all of all of yourself to seeking knowledge, the knowledge will only give a small portion of it back to you. You'll never get that. You'll never get the amount of knowledge back, the percentage-wise of knowledge that you give of yourself. So if you only give half of yourself, how much knowledge do you think you're going to get? If you only give a quarter of your energy, how much knowledge do you think you're going to get? We're talking about if you gave all of your energy, everything, every waking hour that you have to seeking knowledge, that knowledge is only going to give you a small portion back. You're only going to receive a small portion of knowledge. And the things that you know are always going to be less, way less than the things that you don't know. That's just reality. So the whole point is that we focus on the most important knowledge and gaining the most important knowledge and trying to fixate that knowledge in our minds. And we don't waste our time with this knowledge that doesn't benefit. It doesn't have benefit in the dunya and it doesn't have benefit in the akhirah. Because I notice with a lot of people, whenever they started seeking knowledge and then they started to, they find difficulties in knowledge, they always try to search for things that they don't have difficulties in. So what do? They start reading books on conspiracy theories. They start reading other books on other things and just end up wasting their time. They bring no benefit in this dunya nor in the akhirah. So you focus on knowledge that's going to benefit you. And that's why the Prophet ﷺ used to say, Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min ilmin la yanfa. I seek refuge with you from knowledge that does not benefit. Because this is the benefit, the only benefit of this, the knowledge of this deen is the only thing that's going to be beneficial in this dunya and the akhirah. Other knowledge, for example, you study engineering, you might have some small benefit in the dunya, but that's it. It's not going to have any benefit for you in the akhirah. But then there's knowledge that has no benefit in this dunya, nor the akhirah. You know, like a lot of, well, most people are not going to study sihr. But I'm saying, like, you know, people that get involved in, like, just knowing statistics, knowing, you know, like, oh, why y'all turn the lights off?
I gotta be a bum.
You know, knowing how many home runs this player hit or how many touchdowns this player scored. You got people that can sit here and answer all these questions all day long. But then you ask them to name, you know, name me some Sahaba, name me some Tabi'een, name me some, you know, how many hadith have you memorized? Nothing. Can't name anything. But mashallah, he could tell you how many yards Barry Sanders rushed for in 1993. You know, but he can't tell you what? 5 Sahaba. So, I mean, when we look at these types of things, I mean, you got to focus on the knowledge that's beneficial. You know, spend your time on the knowledge that is beneficial. All right, where is that? All right, well, most people quit once they experience the first plateau. They think that the specific science is not for them. I finished that. All right, also, Imam Shafi'i is quoted as saying, لا يطلب هذا العلم من يطلبه بالتملل وغنى نفس فيفلح ولكن من طلبه بذلة النفس وضيق العيش وخدمة العلم أفلح. Beautiful statement from Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah. And it shows that this is the characteristics of the people that are going to be successful in seeking knowledge. He said anybody that seeks this knowledge to get it quickly, or with an attitude of being above it, like, they look, like they have this type of arrogance with the knowledge, will not be successful in attaining it. However, the person that seeks it with humility, while living off very little food and provisions in service of this knowledge, will be successful in attaining it. And that's the reality. You know, the arrogant person and the person in a hurry. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, what did he say in Hajj? He said, Al-bir laysa fi ida'a. Look up the hadith. Al-bir laysa fi ida'a. That righteousness is not in being, being in a rush is not from righteousness. You know, al-bir laysa bi ida'a or bil ida'a. So it's like, and here it means to be in a hurry, to be in a rush. Because anybody that's in a rush to get things done, they never succeed. They might see temporary success, but that's it. Then they end up forgetting anything. Whatever comes easy, it's forgotten easy. So pushing through those difficulties strengthen your character and makes you a better person. You absolve yourself of that. Huh?
Ibn Abbas?
I don't know. I think it is there because Ibn Abbas, he's the one that narrated a lot of the hadith from Hajj. Why you just go to why you keep pulling up? I'm asking you for a hadith and you keep giving your ulama's websites. Just go to there's websites just for hadith.
Okay.
I just want the narration of the hadith. I don't want what the ulama said about it. I just want the hadith. يا أيها الناس عليكم بالسكينة والوقار فإن البر ليس في إضاع الإبل. All right, that one is خارج الصحيحين. This one is in Bukhari. This is the one. أنه دفع مع النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يوم عرفة فسمع النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم وراءه زجرا شديدا وضربا وصوتا للإبل because they were just trying to hurry up the camels. فأشار بصوته إليهم وقال أيها الناس عليكم بالسكينة فإن البر ليس بالإضاع. ليس بالإضاع. Okay, so it's not إضاع, it's إضاع. And this is in Bukhari and also من أفراد البخاري على المسلم. All right, so he said here وفي الحديث.
هذا اتجاه غريب جدا. اتجاه غريب جدا.
What's that?
اتجاه كان غريب جدا.
هو خرج ليش؟
خرج هو يريد يتعلم العربي ولكن أهله يتكلموا فرنسي وهو يتكلم تركي.
طيب هذا نقول كيف بنعلمه؟ يعني هو نحن ما نتكلم اللغة التركية ولا شيء. هذا أنا قلت له دله على رمضان وخلاص انتهينا من الأمر.
جاء شخص في المسجد من زمان كان تركي بس أنا ما أظنه بيعرف ما أظن بيرجع. من زمان كان في شخص تركي.
قال فليست طاعة الله في سورة الصير إلا إنما نهاهم عن الإضاءة بالجرح وإبقاء عليهم. So it's like استعجال, You don't have to rush, All right, so pushing through those difficulties strengthens your character and makes you a better person. You absolve yourself of that evil quitter mentality. This characteristic will make you stronger as a teacher and when you give dawah. Because imagine if you have this type of attitude, right? This is how you are when you're seeking knowledge. That every time that you see some type of difficulty, you quit and you stop. Now what happens when you go and give dawah? Every time now that you face difficulties in dawah, what are you going to do? Go find another job? Go find another masjid to be the imam of? Like, how are you going to do it? You're not going to be patient, but you're not, because you didn't do that when you were seeking knowledge. You understand? When you were seeking knowledge, every time that you saw difficulties, you quit. So now when you go out to give dawah to the people, now every time that you start to have difficulties in the masjid that you're the imam of, what are you going to do? Quit, and then you go to another city, and now you're the imam there, then you face problems, and you quit, and you go to another city, and then what? Until what? So there's no benefit. So you start to get rid of that loser mentality while you're seeking knowledge. And in that way you have more patience when you're going and giving dawah. Because if you're just quitting while you're studying, then what are you going to do when you give dawah? You'll be quitting too. You think you're going to magically change all of a sudden, and you didn't change yourself when you were seeking knowledge? No, because every time that you face any type of difficulties with the people, things you can't solve, things that are stressing you out, then you quit. And then you go run somewhere else. Like, Carlos, I'm tired of being here. Let me go to San Francisco. Then San Francisco. Oh, I'm tired of San Francisco. Let me go to Sacramento. Sacramento's not the problem. San Francisco's not the problem. Fresno's not the problem. You're the problem. It's you. You are your own problem. It's not the people, and it's not the place. It's because the person doesn't have patience. So you have to get rid of that attitude and that type of mentality while you're seeking knowledge. Make sure that you start things and finish them.
42.
Huh?
Page 42, right?
42, yeah. This characteristic will make you stronger as a teacher and when you give dawah. Obviously, you cannot be successful in dawah if you quit every time that you face a difficulty. Much like seeking knowledge in dawah, you're going to be faced with a lot of difficulties all the time. Yeah, because the thing is when we used to study, the sheikh used to go through things that we didn't understand what he was going through. Then when we had to go back to our countries and start trying to teach the people, and then we start getting attacked, and then people start blocking us from teaching in the masjid and doing things to us, now we start to understand. It's like, wow, man, the sheikh was patient with all this stuff, but we never heard him complain. All we heard was him what? Just keep teaching the people, keep teaching the people, keep teaching the people. You never knew what was going on behind the scenes, and you never knew until you heard about it much, much later on, and you never heard it from him. You heard it from other people. So, the types of stuff that you see that the ulama, they never talk about these things. But the types of stuff that they have to deal with the people is beyond, things that the average person would ever be able to handle. But they do it, and they continue. But that's because they built that strong mentality when they were seeking knowledge, going through what they had to go through, being patient, and, getting rid of all that quit mentality. So that's why they got to that level of being able to handle the types of stuff that they handle by the permission of Allah. So he said, much like seeking knowledge in dawah, you're going to be faced with a lot of difficulties all the time. Therefore, you have to make a habit of finishing what you start from the beginning until you develop that no-quit character, inshallah. And see, and the things that you're going to face going seeking knowledge are not the same as the things that you're going to face giving dawah. Because when you're seeking knowledge, you're responsible for you. You're not responsible for the people of the markaz. You're not feeding them. You're not, making sure that they got housing and the people are eating and the sick people get medicine. That's not your responsibility. Your responsibility is to do what? To get your lazy self up every single day, get to the masjid and get in those classes and learn. To make yourself read the Quran, to make yourself memorize the Quran, to make yourself sit in those classes and learn day in and day out, even when you don't want to do it. That's it. So if you can't handle that responsibility, now when you come back and now you start having other problems. You start having, people come to you with marriage problems. People start coming to you, and now they're throwing it on you now because this is your responsibility because nobody else is able to answer the questions that they have. Now you start to have full responsibility. It's a lot different problems. So if you can't handle these problems of seeking knowledge, how are you going to handle that? So you have to look at seeking knowledge and all the stuff that you're going through as a preparation. And you start to get a taste, you start to know yourself. And that's why I say focus on you. Don't focus on nobody else. Because if you go and seek knowledge and you come out and you don't know you, but you know about everybody else, You know about Sheikh Fulan, Sheikh Fulan, Sheikh Fulan. You know all the people that are on the hawk and all the people off the hawk, but you don't even know yourself. You're a loser. You're a loser. Because you're going to fail, because you don't even know what you are, who you are, how much patience you have, because you haven't paid attention to yourself the whole time. You've distracted yourself from yourself. And Shaitan's kept you distracted with other things, so you haven't focused on yourself. You need to know yourself. That's the most important thing. You know what you can handle. You know where your breaking point is, and you know the types of responsibilities that you can take on, and the type of responsibilities that you have to stay away from. Like me, Akhi, don't put me, I don't want any responsibility with money. I hate money. I don't have concern for money. So even here, I told him like what? I don't want nothing to do with money. Don't talk to me about money, nothing. The money goes to the person who's responsible for the money. I'll be responsible for other things. Teaching the people, doing the things that I know I can be responsible with. Things that and you got to know yourself. You have to know yourself. Know how much patience you have. Know the types of things that you can deal with. Know when you're reaching that level of where your patience is about to run out, and know to get away. And because some people, they don't know themselves. And then when they're dealing with people, they hit that breaking point, and then they snap on people. And see, if I feel like I'm at that point where it's like I can't tolerate another question. Hey, I'm going home. Salaam alaikum. Gone. And that's it. You're going to see me disappear. You're not going to, no conversation, no reason why. He's gone. Where did he go? I don't know. He's got in the car and left. That's it. Because I know, you know yourself. You know what you can handle. We're human beings, But if you haven't been tested like that, and you haven't paid attention to how you react in those tests, then when you go and give dawah, it's going to be a travesty, man. It's going to be a travesty because you're going to be dealing with a lot of stuff. And the thing about it is the stuff that we deal with in America is we're not even at that level right now. We don't have people shooting guns at us right now. We don't have people attacking the masjid and shooting rockets at the masjid. I'm saying it hasn't happened yet. I'm just saying, So that's what I'm saying. When those things, when those real atrocities start to happen, when real hunger starts to take place, where there's food shortages and all this type of stuff really starts to happen. And then, when people are like in fear of war and everything, then, you understand, you have to know how you reacted to those situations before. And if you made mistakes, you start fixing those mistakes in the times of peace. You don't wait for the next fitna to come to let me see how I do this time. But you didn't do any preparation from the last time. So you're going to fail the same way you failed the last time. So you have to always constantly be assessing yourself. Where you failed and how can you improve. Get advice from people. Go to other people and say, hey man, I tried to memorize this, but I just failed. I couldn't understand this. And get advice from people. Don't be shy, because most of the people that are too shy to go around and say what? I don't know. Nobody expects you to know, so there's nothing to be shy about that. If you're going and seeking knowledge, especially as an American, the most people, when I was in Damaj, if I started speaking Arabic to the people, they're like, whoa. You know what I'm saying? They're like shocked, like you can speak Arabic. So you think that they expect you to understand, Irshad al-Fuhul from the Shawkani? You think they expect you to be sitting there reading al-Mughni? So, whenever I had an issue, and I went to one of the bigger students and I said, you know what? I don't understand this. I have no idea what's going on. You'd be surprised. They'd be like, Tal, and they sit down, let's see. Because one day I was in the Maktaba. I wanted to go research a hadith. And I was like, man, I walk in and I was already embarrassed because Sheikh Yahya was there with like 20 books out in front of him. So I go there and I look at the Sheikh, I'm like, uh-oh. Because he's going to see me coming in the Maktaba. I'm like, oh no, he's probably, if he sees, but he never looked up. But I'm saying if he saw me, he'd probably be like, tomorrow, the next day, hey, you, answer this question,
He does that.
Yes, he does that. So, but he never looked up from his books. But I was like, I went to look at the wall of books of hadith. Now, I know that this hadith is in Sunan Ibn Majah, but I want to find out, is it sahih, is it not? And I'm just looking at this wall of books of hadith, of books of rijal and everything, and I'm like, where do I start? So one of the bigger students, I think it might have been Sheikh Turki, I'm not sure. Could have been Sheikh Turki, it could have been Sheikh Abdul Hamid. I can't remember, because I can't remember back who. I didn't know who he was at that time. I didn't even know who he was at the time. So he walked over to me, he was doing research. And he looked up and he saw me just doing like this. He said, "Akhi, what's up?" You know, it's like, "Ish indik." You know, what do you got? You know, no, he didn't say it like that. He said, "Ish indik." I said, you know, I explained it to him. I said, you know, the hadith, you know, al-mahdi min ahli yusallihu Allah fil layl. You know, this hadith in Sunan Ibn Majah. He said, I want to find out if the hadith is authentic. So he said, grab the book up, and he said, start here. He said, this is a Nihaya, you know, a Nihaya from Ibn Kathir. He said, you'll find the hadith there and see what Ibn Kathir said about it, and then you can see where to search after that. But he said, start here. So then I started reading it. I found the hadith in there. I found what Bukhari said, and I said, well, this is what he said. And then Bukhari apparently said, fihi nadr. He said, khalas, go home. I said, go home. He said, yeah. Bukhari said, fihi nadr. He said, khalas, hadith da'if, go home. So I said, okay, tayyib. You know, but it was just like, that was an easy day, right? But, and believe it or not, guess what happened the next day?
You got a question?
No. The sheikh was asked about the same exact hadith. Somebody, maybe that student or somebody sent a message up to the sheikh and he said, what's the hal of this hadith? And then the sheikh's like, I don't know. And that was it. So the sheikh walked out of the lesson and I walked out behind the sheikh. And I told him what I read, because I went through the chain of narration. I said, oh, the chain of narration is this, this, and this. And this guy, Ibn Shayban, he's the one, you know, he only narrated one hadith. And then Bukhari said, fihi nadr. And the sheikh just looked at me and said, Bukhari qala fihi nadr. Naam, Bukhari qala fihi nadr. Oh, khalas. And the sheikh just walked off, you know. So I was like, subhanAllah, I guess that's it. Khalas, if Bukhari says that, it's game over, you know. That's how you learn. But you have to, you know, if I was shy, I wouldn't have gotten that opportunity. And then I went up to the sheikh and talked to him. You know, how you going to do that if you're, oh my God, I'm so scared. I can't talk to the sheikh. Man, I ran straight up to him with his guards. Sheikh, you know the hadith that you were asked about? Yeah, Sunan Ibn Majah, I was searching for it last night. Well, I was trying to let him know too, I wasn't the one that threw the question up. That was probably the brother that helped me do the research. But all that type of stuff, man, you can't, you know, you can't be shy in trying to seek advice and trying to get people. You have stronger students around you. You know, you have to sit down with them and let them, and ask them for their help. Ask them for their advice and take their advice and learn from them. Learn from them, because they're the ones that they've already been through everything that you're going to go through. And they've already made the mistakes that you will make if you don't get the advice from them. So you want to avoid wasting your time with all those types of mistakes. And they can point those mistakes out to you. And they can show you, because a lot of them, they took the long route and they studied all the books. But then they realized what? Yeah, out of these 5 books, these 2 are the only ones that I really needed to study. You know, these are the 2 that I really need to study. And they can tell you that, hey, just study this and study that. Read the rest of the books. Read the rest of them. But the only ones that you need to study are this and this. And you get that advice so you don't waste your time. Otherwise, you'd be sitting there just, you know, running around. And there's no point. Why you know, that's kind of dumb to go and learn. Like, let me make my own mistakes and let me learn from my own mistakes. Why? When everybody's already done that for you. And you have all these people around with decades of experience. You know, we got students that were in the match for 20 years, 15 years, 10 years. You know, why would you waste your time, you know, and you've been there for 2-3 years. And you want to like, no, I'm going to do it my way. No, why? They've already been through all this 10 times. And they've already watched the results of what happened to people that wanted to do it their own way. And what happened to those people and how they got washed out. So they know the advice to keep you on, you know, the inshallah, that keeps you going in the right path, inshallah.
When you say earlier, I think like 7 minutes ago, you said like, you don't prepare for fitna. What do you mean by that?
No, I said you prepare for it.
No, like, I think you're like making fun of someone when you say, like, how does someone prepare for a fitna?
What do you mean? You're asking me how does a person...
Yeah, sorry, I didn't say it, but how does someone prepare for fitna? Like, for example, going overseas and people with guns are coming. How do you prepare?
Well, when people start shooting at you?
Yes.
You better start, you know, reading a lot and memorizing a lot of hadith about the benefit of getting killed in the path of Allah.
No, I'm not scared of dying in the path of
Allah. No, I'm saying, you know, it's just... No, I mean, but it's... Talking about it now and when it really, really happens, it's 2 different things. You know, and you know, just all you can say is that you hope that when the time comes, you make dua that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives you thabat. That's the only thing that you can do. Because when bombs, man, talking about it in times of peace and when it happens, it's two different things. Two completely different things. And you hope. You hope and you make dua that, and when that time comes, the Lord gives you thabat. Because otherwise, khalas, man. It's not easy. It's not easy. And there is no real way that you can prepare for it. The only way that you can prepare for it is to do as many righteous actions as you can, get as close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as you can in the time of peace. Like you use that time of peace and worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and trying to get close to Allah. And don't use the time of peace and like, let's relax, let's chill out, let's just eat and drink and sleep and, and enjoy our time, and then when the next fitna comes, we'll be rested up. No, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. That's not how this works. It works because you put yourself through the grinder day in and day out in the time of peace. So when those times of peace ends, you were never in comfort the whole time. You never got attached to this world, and you never got comfortable here. So when that time comes, khalas, inshallah, it's just another day. It's just another day. Bombs going off, it's just another day. But other than that, khalas. But if you sit there and like try to enjoy the peace, and then when that stuff comes and it starts again, you're like, no, man, I can't take this anymore. I don't want to go through this again. No, so the back comes from Allah. That doesn't come from us. That doesn't come. You could do all the pull-ups and push-ups and dumbbell presses and sit-ups that you run 50 miles a day. You can do all that you want. But wallahi, if Allah does not give you thabat in that time, you're not going to have it, period. It's not about your strength. It's not about your body. It's not about, whoever you are, your lineage, and nothing. It's not about, my tribe is this, my tribe is that. It doesn't matter. It's about you. And is Allah going to give you thabat at that time? If He doesn't give it to you, you're not going to have it. Khalas. And the only way that you can get that thabat is that you try to get as close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as possible. Use the time of peace in the obedience of Allah.
Do you recommend someone, inshallah, when I go to Yemen, do you recommend me to get a personal teacher to teach me like beginning, like Ajrumiyya, or do you recommend me to go to a class where there's other students?
Go to a class where there's other students. But generally, some of those classes, they have like, I guess you could say like study groups, where they sit down and they review together, and just be a part of that.
Also,
or find somebody that you go and study the classes with that you could review with. But we'll get to that later with the study partners and all that.
Because me and Bishop were talking about it. We might go together, or we might meet each other. But that's just the point.
Later, because we'll deal with the questions later. So.
Oh, it's not question time right now?
No. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك